Hello dear learners, today we are going to start with poem 5 of class 9th of book Beehive, A Legend of the Northland. It's written by Bob Carey. She was an American poet and the younger sister of poet Alice Carey. She was born on September 4, 1824 in Mount Healthy near Cincinnati. This poem is a ballad. A ballad is a song narrating a story in short stanzas, and ballads usually are part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to the next. So this story is set in the Northland, which is a polar region. Hence it is very cold there as it remains covered with snow. And the backdrop of the poem is Scotland, which is near the northern tip of the United Kingdom. The North Pole faces very few hours of sunlight, and hence the poet mentions that here are hours of the day are few. Let's start from the first stanza. Away, away in the Northland where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. In the stanza, poet tells about that setting of the land from where the story comes. She tells us that it is from Northland where days are short and the nights are long. It is so cold that people cannot sleep comfortably the whole night and often wake up unable to bear the low temperatures. So this is probably because the pole experience 6 months of winter. They cannot sleep them through because of the cold temperatures. When they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear's cubs in their funny furry clothes. Harness means to tie together, reindeer an animal living in the north. Sledges means carriages drawn by animals used for transportation over snow. Continuing with the same background, description of the people and setting, the poet tells us that in this place people harness, people tie the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows. Because of the extreme cold, children are made to wear funny furry woolen clothes that cover them up fully and make them look like bear's cubs. Next, they tell them a curious story. They refer to the people or the parents of the children. Them here refer to the children. They tell them a curious story, a strange story. I don't believe it's true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. In this type of climate, parents often tell their children a story, and the poet does not think that story is true, but she still wants to share it with the readers so that they can take a message from it, and you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale. Tell means tell the story to you. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching just as he did you know. So the poet starts by saying that the story dates back to the time when Saint Peter lived on earth and walked around preaching good things. Preaching means deliver religious sermons, religious lessons to the people just as he is doing now, probably from heaven or through the holy books, and walked about it preaching just as he did you know. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. In continuation with the story, the poet tells us that one day, while roaming around, Saint Peter came upon a cottage. Cottage means a small house where a little woman was baking cakes in an oven for herself. Hearth means fireplace. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter was almost fainting with exhaustion, with tiredness, and due to roaming and fasting. Being faint means feel like fainting, about to fall unconscious. He asked the woman to give him one cake from her stock. Store of cakes means what she is already having. To give him a single one, she asked for one single piece of cake from the store of cakes the lady was having. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it, and though it seemed too large to give away. So when Saint Peter asked for the cake, the lady made a small cake to give him, but before she could give it, she looked at it and thought it was too big. It seemed too large. It seemed too big to give away as a donation, to give it as free, give away for free. Therefore, she needed means molded another dough to make cake, and still a smaller one, and it looked when they turned it over as large as the first had done. So she needed another one which was smaller, and then another one smaller still. But when she turned it means reversed for baking. When she turned it over, it appeared to be as big as the first one. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she couldn't part with that. Then what happened? The women kept reducing the size a third time to make a cake so small that she wouldn't mind giving it away. This time she took an extremely small lump of dough and rolled it out to look big, rolled it flat. But when she rolled the dough, her cake was as flat and thin as a wafer. Now she did not have the heart to give even that away, but she couldn't part with that. For she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away, so she put them on the shelf. The poet describes here the women's miserly character by saying that she felt that the cakes that seemed too small were still big, and when she ate them, and therefore they were not fit to be given away. She then kept them on the shelf and did not give any to the Saint Peter. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Observing all this, Saint Peter became very angry with the women's behavior. Since he was starving and feeling very weak, his anger was justified. Such a selfish woman deserved his anger. As the old woman was completely heartless and she was miser, she could not part with a single cake for charity. She wanted to give Saint Peter one cake, but she could not part with that, what was already baked and kept. So the woman was not ready to part with the cake she had prepared. She made smaller ones, and yet she did not give any of them to Saint Peter. She made him wait endlessly, not realizing how desperate and hungry he was. This provoked the saint. And he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. The poet then described that how Saint Peter cursed the woman and told her that she did not deserve to be a human being and have the luxury of a comfortable house, good food and to eat, and a fire to keep her warm. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. So Saint Peter told the women that henceforth she will have to build her own nest like other birds, and that she will have to work hard at boring the hard wood the whole day to find food. Saint Peter got provoked because he was famished and was feeling weak. After a long wait, he realized that women was not in mood to part with a single cake, and this was enough to provoke him, and because of that provoking, he cursed the woman. And so saying, then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. And so saying, according to the saying of the Saint Peter, that curse started to work. The women did not say a single word and went through the chimney to go out. She had been turned into a woodpecker. This woodpecker could be seen flying out of the top of the chimney. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burnt black as coal as in the flame. The woman was wearing a red cap, so the woodpecker developed a red plum on the head. And since all her clothes became black and burnt while going up the chimney, the woodpecker's body from then on became black. Because her clothes had got burnt in the chimney and had turned black, so the woodpecker has a black body. And only the red cap was allowed to remain intact, and so the woodpecker has a red head. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring her food. Since then, everyone, including school children, have seen a woodpecker digging into the bark of the trees in the forest for food, worms to feed on. Means, what is the conclusion? That women was not only a miser but also hard-hearted. The poor man stood at the door, almost fainting, and yet the woman was not worried about parting even the small portion of the cake. The saint thought that she needed to be taught a lesson. The same food which she was not willing to part with now as a bird, she would have to struggle to get even that tiny portion. So he turned her into a woodpecker. Now she had to drill, she had to bore and bore into hard wood to find worms which would be her food. Next are the question answers, dear students. Thank you.